Coming live from Warren Bay in Victoria, Australia is our guest this morning. Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Kylie Mort, multi-award winning author and a free app creator. Welcome to the show, Kylie.
Thank you, AJ. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on to the show. And we'll be talking about how children's books can empower families. Kylie, you have been an Amazon best-selling author with multiple award-winning publications, and you have also developed a free app. So exactly first, and this how to write with Kylie Mort. What exactly inspired you to make this particular app? It means you know a bit about apps, and then instead of making money with that app, you have made it free. So a bit of background on this particular thing that will actually show the type of person who you are and who is trying to make a difference in this world.
Yeah, thanks, AJ. I developed the app after I've been a school teacher for about 20 years now. I've been a private tutor for a decade. And with all of the change that went on through the last couple of years, I became an online tutor when I thought I never would. It was always about being face-to-face with the young people. It was about reading exactly what they needed as a unique young person. But then, of course, with the lockdowns and the shutdowns and all of that kind of thing, I had to adapt and I had to teach online. And through doing that, I did a little bit of extra study on reading body language, reading facial movements, that kind of thing, and found that you can still teach to a very personalized, individual way through using these kind of mediums. And so with that kind of thing, I'm now a full-time online tutor now. I don't do any face-to-face classes anymore, which really made my audience and my availability to young people a lot wider, because I can go, across Australia now, which I do. And then after that change, I thought, well, how else can I make my tutoring available to even more people? Because there's only one of me, and I can only tutor for so many hours in the day. So it was very much just trying to download everything I do with children when I teach them how to write essays, how to analyze books, how to study literature. How can I get that in a format where it doesn't matter if I'm physically with them or not, they can still have my experience, my knowledge, and the processes that I talk children through.
Right, Kylie. Now, in terms of children's book, firstly, before that, Kylie, you are also a qualified and registered school teacher, yoga teacher, performance coach, focused on holistic coaching. So one is the children part of the thing. What is it? Then one would understand who is Kylie Mort, what she does exactly beyond creating a free app for children, for whoever wants to use that, and also as a multi-award winning author. Beyond that, you are several things. So should people understand who is Kylie Mort?
So definitely, if I try to package it all up, I'm a holistic coach that tries to help individuals become their best selves. And that's why I work with people right down through junior primary school. I work with high school students. I work with university students, adults even. All I'm trying to do is take all of the knowledge and experience that I've gathered through my career and help people to be whatever it is that they aspire to be. And that's where the book came into it as well, because my book is very much marketed at a younger audience that needs the support of the adults around them, that needs that network of support that helps them to open the communication channels and really understand that it's okay to be an individual, to have your own feelings, your own fears, and that kind of thing. And there's always somebody available, an adult available, that can then help you work through those kind of things. So with my holistic coaching, it stems from the fact that Firstly, I studied education and literature and history and became a school teacher. Then I went back to university to study psychology after I I dabbled in the coaching world through performance coaching, hypnosis, NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. Dabbled in all these pseudosciences, and then just went, well, you know what? I should just go back and actually study psychology. So, and at the same time doing yoga, really delving into the yoga therapy behind it and how you can be best supporting people by looking at not just their academia, not just their schoolwork, but developing people holistically, mind, body, soul, put it all together, find out what it is that makes them tick and how to best work to their challenges and their strengths.
And also about as an apprentice diesel mechanic studying at
Yes.
the yeah, about that, because there is a certain reason I'm asking about this aspect of, great aspects of your personality of what you are doing. What exactly is that?
Yeah, that's a little bit of an outlier, isn't it? I recently became a diesel mechanic. I'm only first year. I've nearly finished my first year of my diesel mechanic apprenticeship, and that's because my husband Tom is an expert diesel mechanic. He is amazing, and we again through the pandemic, through the shutdowns and the lockdowns, we shut down a very big company and we made it very small. And I've been helping him in that company for 20 years now. And I thought, you know what? I might as well just get my ticket and become a diesel mechanic too. Because as you may have noticed from all of the different avenues that I've studied, I'm a little bit obsessed with studying. I love studying. I love learning new things. And diesel mechanic doesn't really fit into holistic coach, but it does really help with with my own personal life as a wife and someone who supports my husband. Why not know even more about his job?
Right, Kylie. The reason I asked was, just to understand how an individual, it's the time, people have different capabilities in themselves, and they are recognizing it more in these modern times, not like earlier days when you had just one thing and you had to just keep on doing one thing. Now you can experiment, you can learn, and you can skill and reskill, learn, unlearn, and continue to make the best out of what you are as an individual, as a professional, and whatever you want to become. So that is very important, especially from a women empowerment point of view, especially in a country like India, not only in India, but a lot of other places. And it also gives an insight into the minds of people there in the other part of the world, in a place like Australia. Now, a lot of people who will be listening to this, seeing this particular show, would also understand it's okay to be good at many things, and then you also how to utilize all those things together to make the best of what you can of this life that we have got. So that was the whole reason, because I was quite fascinated by several things, and the most important part is learning. Your learning does not end with your school degree, college degree, or anything. It has to continue beyond that and make it, and you got to make your learning relevant for the times, with the times. So now that's the reason. And now coming back to the children's book, uh, how do you think, is the trend nowadays in terms of children's book? A lot of children are now going towards online games. Gaming industry is booming, and it's all so much of dependent on children. And my understanding is that uh, parents will have to take extra effort to make their children go towards reading books, whether children's book, and as they grow up, more towards literature. So what is the trend that you are seeing there? Because what children does also impacts family in general.
Yeah, Ajay, that's a really great point. With It's actually I was talking to another interviewer this morning about the fact that we live in a world that is just so obsessed with movement and energy and frenetic pace of everything. And even when we're relaxing, we're still staring at a screen. We're still mindlessly absorbing movement and energy. And I think that with a lot of young people, finding the time to just be still and be present and understand their own emotions, it's really missing in a lot of young people's lives, because everything is always so busy and so scheduled. And I definitely I would love this children's book to be an educational resource. I'm really promoting it as an educational resource where it can be a platform for discussion, where little people and their network, the group of adults around them, can use this to connect and discuss important issues about, mental health and development, and letting the little people understand their unique importance and the ability to understand their own emotions and respond to them, instead of just reacting and being carried away by emotion. And giving the children the language to express their emotions and be understood and supported by the people around them.
Right, right. Now, there is a very close relationship between children's books, and uh, families. Even when I used to read comics earlier, when I was a child, my family also used to read those same comics, and they used to find it interesting, especially my father and my grandfather at the same time. So I understand how these things work. But for a larger audience, for their understanding, what would you like to tell them, how deeply it impacts how what your children are reading, and exactly others are also reading the same thing or trying to understand the same thing, and how exactly does it empower others in the family?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a really important point, AJ, that a book is a tangible connection that little people can make with their carers, with their parents, with family members, and it's about so much more than just reading. I mean, we've all gone through the process of, when we were children, we had to do our readers and we had to learn how to read. But I think that what is so much more critical is that connection with the young person, and slowing down and stopping and saying, okay, the world might be hectic and busy, and I might be really busy too, but this is your time. This is time for us to get together, to have that connection, and for the young person really to be heard. Because I think that a lot of young people, and I write from my own experiences as a young person, and then later through through my psychological studies, reflecting back on my own childhood, and the importance of parents being available to young people, to show them that they matter through listening, properly listening to the young person, and parents taking that time to sit down with a tangible, physical children's story, read the story with them, discuss the themes, talk about what comes up for the young person. And this is why being the literature teacher, I wrote a free study guide to go with the book, and which is freely available on my website. Can be downloaded on PDF. It's 9 pages that just works through all of the literary devices and themes and all of that kind of thing, that I wrote the story with all of that kind of educational data in mind. And it's not that every parent can understand all of those educational, the meta language and all of that kind of thing, but there's activities in that study guide that will help a young person to open up to their big people. There's a section where there's a monster in the book. The monster is dragging them away. That's the antagonist. That's the thoughts and the emotions that the little person just can't control, that are maybe too big, too dominant, too powerful. And if for a junior reader, it could be that they draw that monster. They draw what it looks like. Or for an older person, and a senior primary, or a high school student, 7 or 8, year 7 or 8, they could be writing and expressing about what that monster does to them. And this kind of using it as a platform for discussion of, what does your monster look like? Because we all have monsters. Even as adults, we have fears. And to be able to freely discuss that with a young person lets the young person know that it's okay to have fears, and that everybody's fears are unique and that they can be talked about and that they have that support that they need.
Right, right, Kylie. Now, also take this opportunity to tell us about your book. What's the name of the book? How can parents or anybody else who is interested in that book, they can buy that book, from where they can buy it, and what exactly will they get from the book?
Okay, so the book is called Little People, Big Emotions. I literally can
Yeah,
show
please.
you. Here's a copy of the book.
Okay, show it. I will show it on a bigger window. Yes, this
Here is
is
the
good.
book,
Just
Little
just
People,
hang
Big
on. I'll show
Emotions.
it on a bigger window, and that is here. Yes, yes. This is better.
So,
Little.
Little People, Big Emotions. The illustrator is Tina Morton, and she did just such a fantastic job with illustrating the story. There's the monster that I was just talking about.
Right.
And the monster particularly was a really interesting journey to go through with the illustrator and find out exactly how our two perspectives were obviously unique, different, coming from a different place. The monster that I wrote about when I wrote the story was a real dark, a monster that came from child abuse and trauma, that kind of real monster. Whereas where Tina, when she first drew the monster, it was a friendly monster. It wasn't a monster. It was more like the paper tiger monster that a child feels, where their fears are valid, their fears are important, but it is something that an adult can assuage. Whereas my monster was more along the lines of, if there is something dark and very disturbing happening, you can reach out to this adult, you can reach out to this big person, and they will help you sort through those problems. So there's definitely a serious undertone that can be worked through with this book. And that's why in the study guide too, I've got all of these various activities that parents and caregivers can work through to really open up that connection and make sure that the young person knows that they're safe, they're important, they will be heard, and they don't have to deal with emotions and problems and issues on their own. So this book is available from my website, kyliemort.com.au. And there's also there's a lot of free information there, magazine articles I've written, different other books that I've written with, lots and lots of resources there. And of course, that anyone would like to contact me, they can certainly contact me directly on my email, kyliemort22@gmail.com, because I'm more than happy to explain more about any of the resources or tools that I have, or just help people through whatever it is they want to talk about.
Wonderful, wonderful, Kylie. Thank you very much for helping us understand this. Now, one challenge in today's time that parents face is that their children are so busy with their phones, smartphones. And I don't know if children can actually become smart by using smartphones or by books. You are a teacher. How would you help parents to take their children a bit away from their phones and read actual books and become smarter for life? How do they do that?
Two very important points there, AJ, is one, I've just developed a free smartphone app to help people write essays. So I'm certainly one of those educators that feels that we should embrace the technology available. And definitely with that smartphone app, I have developed it so that the entire essay process is a question and answer. And I, as the teacher, as the literature teacher in the back end, have already written the essay. And all I've got to do is talk through step by step each sentence of the essay. If they respond either in writing or with talk to text, because Siri can do that nowadays, then they actually have a fully written essay by the end of it. So that's one angle I want to go with. The other angle that is really important is with my private clients that I coach. I always, like after every coaching session, I send a report home. I send the report home. It's got challenges, it's got weaknesses, it's got goals for the next week. And over again, I say to the parents, read the books with your children. Every child in Australia, anyway, I'm not quite sure of everybody's education system, but in Australia, every child from year 7 to year 12 has set texts that they need to study at school. So if you want to empower your children to really dig deep and get involved in the themes and get involved in the narrative and be able to explore the complexity of what that author was trying to do, you need to read it with them. You need to be engaged with them. Whether that's reading To Kill a Mockingbird with a year 8 student, or whether that's reading, The Longest Memory with a year 12 who's about to write their final exams. As long as you're going through this journey with your child, then they're going to get so much more out of it because they have the experience and wisdom of a parent's perspective that whole way. And that is just priceless.
Right, Kylie. Now, again, another question as a teacher, as an educator, that monsters for different people are different, especially for children. They have their own image about things that they fear, and monsters is one of them. Now, these monsters can leave a lasting impact forever if we don't tell them what these actually are, in terms of either a bully in school or a monster which is you can tackle it and make it still your friend. Everything is not bad, like fear is not bad if you can tackle it and use it to your advantage. Why I'm asking this is that there are different sort of children, different families, and they pass through their own difficult times. Children can perceive a lot of things differently, and if not told in the right manner, then it can lead to a negative impact for it. And everybody is not as strong as you, Kylie, who can deal with the trauma of childhood, early life, and still make their lives better, and still want to make a difference to so many lives everywhere. A lot of things can go differently. So, what would you tell here from your own experience? Because you are now preventing other children from experiencing the same trauma. How would you like to put it? Any negative sort of a understanding of things early childhood, or any sort of a incident that somebody may perceive it to be something very difficult to forget? How does it work from there so that they become a happy child, a child who is thinking positively about life?
Yeah, that's a great point, AJ, because I think that what's most important with the way that I've reflected on the issues and looked at my own journey to help with the way that I wrote this book is the fact that a child, I literally wrote this down this morning for another interview. A child will always internalize shame, pain, trauma. They'll internalize it until somebody can tell them that it's okay and it's not their fault. And I think that what was so critical with what happened in my childhood and my trauma is that I never had that safe adult. I never felt like I could actually share the trauma with someone else. So I internalized it. And, I'm grateful for the challenges in the way that it made me such a determined, courageous young person that could just stare adversity in the face. And it gave me strength. But as you say, it doesn't give everyone strength because, there's also the flip side that it gave me shame and self-doubt and suicidal tendencies and isolation. And there's all those other things that a child will always internalize until they have that support person to talk it out with. And I think that the main thing that I'm trying to achieve with this book here is to get this in the hands of as many families as possible, as many little people as possible, to read this book, to work with the study guide, and to understand that they have a safe person to talk to, that it's things that happen to you, they don't dictate who you are, and that if they can find that safe person to talk to, that an adult perspective, as you say, will always give them that wiser, more experiential perspective. And the thing that we need to understand as parents is that the parent is always the most dominant influence on a child, always, because they're the one that's in their face every day. So whether that's a good or a bad influence, the parent is always the most dominant. And we need that parent to always be reminding that young person that they're special, they're important, they're unique, and that they're loved. And to have those open communication channels. So if something does happen in that child's life, if they are grappling with emotions that are uncomfortable, that they can't handle on their own, they will reach out to someone and say, look, I just can't do this on my own.
Right, right. Children should have that freedom and should be given that resource that they can reach out to people that they can trust, especially their parents, without feeling that somebody is interfering in their lives or the way they are growing up. It is like what I earlier on read a long time back ago, is to be a non-participatory observer and participate only when it is required for your children. Now, you have spoken great things about all these topics, Kylie, and I'm sure a lot of people would be able to benefit from this. But a lot of people who want to connect with you, what sort of people can connect with you? As you said, you have private coaching and all that stuff who can benefit from you. And how do they quickly do that apart from the site? Is it LinkedIn the best manner, or is there any other way the best that they can approach and get the maximum out of your expertise?
I must say I'm not terribly good with LinkedIn, but I do monitor Facebook and Instagram regularly. The best way to get in touch with me would certainly be my email, kyliemort22@gmail.com, because I'm one of these people who hate a full inbox, so everything gets prioritized on the email. But definitely, if it's support with writing that you want, anyone who downloads the app and writes on the app, my feedback is available for anything that you complete on that app. So definitely, if you'd like help with schoolwork, the app How to Write with Kylie Mort, it's available at the Apple Store and on Android as well. So, and obviously there's a link through the website for that too. So yeah, getting on the app, on email, Facebook at kyliemort.fb or Facebook, and on Instagram, Kylie Mort 22. I think those are the best ways. And I'm pretty good at keeping in touch with whoever gets in touch with me, because I'm always looking to best support people and can point them in the direction of other, resources. If it's not resources from my own website, obviously being in this industry for so long, I know a lot of other people with some great resources as well. So I can certainly do my best to point someone in the right direction.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kylie, for all the insights and inputs. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Great talking to you, AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you.